Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Braggy and Curly.
My favorite bands from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly.
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered Podcast.
Hey there, everyone. It's Curly here, and welcome to episode 123 of the Unfiltered and Undiscovered Podcast. It's a very minimal podcast tonight. It's just me and my good friend down there in Adelaide, Braggy. How are you, Braggy?
I'm excellent. The weather's changed. Spring has sprung. Flowers are out. The bees are buzzing.
Yeah,
And I can hear the sound of leather on willow.
oh,
My favourite season.
The cricket season is, mind you, we haven't done well in the
No.
one day.
It's okay. Every World Cup we've won, we've started with 2 losses.
Truly.
I think so.
So-
Pretty
So
much.
you're still confident they'll do okay.
India and South Africa have peaked too early, as we saw last night. South Africa got beaten by the Netherlands.
Ooh.
So I'm still confident.
Ever the optimist, ever the optimist. And mate, can I tell you, it's great to be back chatting with you. Of course, I've been to just a couple of
Yes, tell us
marathons
about
around the
this.
world, and I was
Just a couple of
I was
marathons.
just sharing with you. This is a finisher shirt out of Chicago. This is Goose Island Beer.
Why does it have the
Chicago.
phone?
I don't know, but at the end of the marathon, you get a beer, and
It's
they've
awesome.
started doing this in a lot of marathons, but most of the beers you get are an alcohol-free one.
I was
This
gonna-
is a 4.7%, I think,
Okay.
and it's a no, sorry, I lie. It's 4.2%, and it's a wheat ale.
wheat
and-
beer.
Wheat beer, yeah, and it's got a little time place on the back where you can put your time.
Oh,
So it's such a
that's
cool
awesome.
idea, and the best finisher. I don't understand the phone. But
And so, did you get, because you did the Berlin one first and then Chicago? Was
Yeah,
there a
Ber-
finishing shirt? Was there a finishing Stein in Berlin?
we there was the alcohol-free beer in Berlin, but then we went to Oktoberfest.
Right.
And can I tell you, if I was 20, I might have enjoyed Oktoberfest, but
Just
there is no
Loud-
such
loud
thing
drunks.
as responsible service of alcohol at Oktoberfest at all. You get your choices when you order a drink. You can have a liter of beer,
yeah.
or you can have a liter of beer, and if you want a water, that's going to cost you the same as a liter of beer.
Right.
And then if you ask for Coke, they just disdainly walk away. It is just it was just like incredible. And because Sharon doesn't drink a lot, because the package we had was 2 liters of beer and half a roast chook. And can I tell you, you get half a roast chook. There is no side. There's no chips with it. It is
Just a half a chicken.
a roast chook that's heavily salted because, of course, that helps you drink some beer. So we all had 2 liters of beer, and of course, Sharon drank 1,
Right.
and then gave me her other one. So I'm up to 3, and then we pop outside. Finally, got out of the beer hall, and we got out into it was still sunshine. It was still afternoon. So I then ordered another beer.
As you do.
And that's like 4 liters of beer. And I was trying to calculate afterwards how, like, that would have to be like a beer is like 375. There's 3 of them in a liter, roughly. So that's a dozen
bit
beers.
less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a little less. 11 beers.
That's about normal for you, though. I've been to the football with you.
That is one of the very good reasons I slept very soundly that night. Can I tell you? So
Yeah.
but it was really, really, it was a great trip. And I'll talk a little bit more because I got some music stuff I want to share with you on
Oh,
what we
cool.
saw in the marathon course. Died pretty.
Yes.
Would have been very sad news. Would have been playing in Brisbane this Saturday night. So
Right. Yeah.
and of course everyone was just looking forward to that. And of course we've had the big loss of Ron Pino. And in another memory about Ron Pino, Igloo, that famous song, that Aussie classic by Screaming Tribesmen, written by our good friend Mick Nadeau and Ron Pino, was released 40 years ago today or this week or very close to.
Are they going to do like a fundraiser concert or something? Do you think, or
I don't know. You'd
like
love
a testimonial or something?
Do you know what I would love to see is just like a covers concert. Like where other bands come on and play some of the
songs.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
That would be magical and absolutely testament to the place that Ron had in at least the Australian independent music scene. So
I think probably even outside it, people would recognise, his contribution to that genre.
Now, of course, our other co-host, Rossy, he's over in Japan, and from what we can see, he's over there with his family wanting a very quiet holiday. He's got Angus with him. They've got some close friends. And from what we're getting back from Rossy, it seems to be disrupted because the Psychotic Turnbuckles just happen to be...
He seems to be following them around and just going to all their gigs. It's strange.
And the other piece of disruption is
why would you do that?
I don't know. I don't know. These Psychotic Turnbuckles are, from what I can see, they're there to take over the world. They've been inducted into the Rock and Roll Wrestling Hall of Fame. Japanese
I know Rossy's a wrestling fan, so maybe that's why.
Maybe that's the link.
The family to see him,
And the other disruptive voice is, of course, Rossy's good mate, the barman, and apparently the barman's sober. Yeah. So
no, the last thing I saw was the barman was drunk.
So he
was
finally got
and then drunk.
The Flying. There's a great beer over there, Rossy and barman. If you're listening, it's called the Flying Iguana, and it's a beautiful pale ale. So, so I know that Rossy wants some peace. But interestingly, some of the Turnbuckles pictures, and they've brought their own ref with them, who looks suspiciously like Angus from Pocket Watch. Now, what are the odds of the referee for the Turnbuckles a lookalike for Angus, Rossy's son?
It's a very young-looking ref too. Inexperienced, I would think.
And maybe that's why they're the champions. Maybe.
Yeah, he's definitely probably getting paid on the side. Knowing the Turnbuckles, probably slipping him. But it looks like he's having a great time. And the thing about Rossy is he's the right size for Japan, isn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll fit on the trains easy.
Yeah. I love that the clip that Turnbuckles shared of Go Gorilla at the hell of a club lounge or whatever.
That just looks like so much fun. Like some of those gigs, they just look like,
Yeah, very loose.
So such an enthusiastic audience, the Japanese, I feel.
Yeah.
I've never been there, but just from clips I see, they seem to be just. It doesn't matter what sort of music it is; they're just into it.
Yeah.
By the way, in Adelaide, we have a Beatle in Adelaide today.
A Beatle, truly.
Yes, Paul McCartney kicks off his Australian tour tonight in Adelaide. I think it's tonight, or it might be tomorrow night, but he's here today.
Well, when we're in Chicago, on the famous Chicago sign, on the Chicago stage, Ringo Starr was playing there the first couple of nights in sold-out gigs with his band. So how's that? Ringo and Paul on...
We could have had two Beatles on this show, Curly.
Yeah. Hey, look, I do have some news from our friend Jules, who's been sending us some of these fresh country. James Johnson, he's made Australian history. He sold out his very first live performance. He's going to now perform in 5 regional cities: Wollongong, Tamworth, Rockhampton, Townsville and Sunshine Coast. And I know our country correspondent, the Big Stew, is going to be stoked with this. It's called the Raised Like That Tour.
Mm-hmm.
It opens in Wollongong on the 18th of November, plays Tamworth the 19th, Rockhampton on the 23rd, Townsville Entertainment Centre 24th of November, and then comes back to the Sunshine Coast on the 26th of November. So he just continues to go from strength to strength with that new genre of music.
That's awesome, Rossy. I have a little bit of country news.
Mm-hmm. And it's Curly, not Rossy.
Oh, sorry, Curly. We were talking about Rossy before. While you guys were away, I went to my first really big country music concert.
Okay.
So I went and saw the Chicks, who were formerly the Dixie Chicks, who played the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. So it was my first. I mean, I've been to a lot of country things before, but never like a big show like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I would have thought of it, I only just thought of it now to tell you about this. I should have sent you this photo. I've got a photo that I took, and this is not made up. This is real. So I'm just going to have to hold it up to the camera, okay?
Yeah, yeah. And send it to me, and I can edit it in the video.
You can edit it in. But I took this photo at the gig before the concert started.
Oh, Wooshka.
So I was sitting behind that guy. But it's true. It's not a joke.
That's Big Stew all over, isn't it?
I was nearly going to tap him on the shoulder, but when he turned around, he looked like what's his name? Cow to the county. Kenny Rogers. He looked like Kenny Rogers.
Okay.
He wasn't. And actually, I had to bend down to get that shot. I could actually see over him really well.
Yeah.
Chicks were great. They were awesome. And the girl that was before them, Elle King. Check her. If you're a country fan, check her out. She's awesome. She was almost bluesy, right up my alley, kind of bluesy country.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Do you want to do part one of Who Am I?
Why not?
Yeah. I think it's going to be
you got no friends to help you tonight, Curly.
It's just me. I think it's going to be a pretty quick show, but it's just great to be talking music again, Braggy.
It is, mate. Yeah. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I was born on the 25th of August, 1954 in Paddington, West London. The only child of a record shop worker and a jazz musician. Both my parents were from Liverpool area and had migrated to London together a few years earlier. My father played trumpet and sang professionally in bebop and big bands. My parents never insisted I take music lessons or otherwise pushed me to follow in the family business. Yeah. Instead, they raised me in a home filled with music, encouraged my musical curiosity, and supported my efforts to find my own way toward a career in music. My early musical influences came from my parents' record collection. But having turned 9 in 1963, I was exactly the right age to experience the full force of Beatles fandom as I grew up. It was also at this time that my parents separated and I moved with my mother back to Liverpool. At school, I was a well-behaved, if sometimes argumentative student, but not generally an academically outstanding one. I was good at writing, though, and I won a writing contest for people aged between 16 and 25 when I was just 11. I began writing songs, teaching myself to play guitar by age 14. Although I never had an alternative career plan, I had previously been reluctant to commit to a career in music, partly because my upbringing had made me aware of the potential pitfalls involved, but then the shock of witnessing a teenage friend's death in a traffic accident changed my mind. Suddenly, everything but music seemed like a waste of precious time. So he's
Liverpool.
our age. Oh, he's
Yeah.
our age. He's 10 years older than us, Curly.
Yeah, and Liverpool has got such a rich history of amazing artists. So,
But imagine being 9 in 1963 when the Beatles had just taken off.
yeah, how cool would that have been?
Oh.
So, all right, so we've got a little bit of new music to just share some snippets with. So just bear with me. Our good friend Laura Frank from episode 115.
Yes.
Has released her latest single. It's called Kiss My. Now, I don't know what...
She's feisty. I love her.
Yeah, we loved Laura. So this is... it's loading. Show on the screen.
Here we
And this
go.
is just a little snippet.
It's been a long, dusty night on a dark desert road, and a tall, handsome cowboy was singing of home. Drank 3 shots of whiskey, so I ain't going home alone. Now throwing all my cliches at this song. Baby, I walked into the past. Lately I'm going nowhere, but I'm falling fast. Got tired of all the broken glass, so now I'm going somewhere and you can kiss my...
Very cabaret feel, doesn't it?
You know, I feel like we could be like at the start of a golden era for Australian country music. We're kind of... I know some of them sound a little bit American, but it's got a bit more of Australianness to it, even though, you know, obviously that's the home in America. So you would naturally follow that sort of thing. But with Laura Frank and some of the artists we've had on recently, I just feel, there's just so many good ones, aren't they?
Yeah, and Two Tone Ponies come out with their latest song. And they're charting with that, which is awesome. What was that? You love the... I've forgotten it. This is what it comes down to when we don't prepare. Two Tone Pony, and it was something about love.
Oh, yeah. Because he talked to us about that.
The Cost of Love. That's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're charting with that song. I think they're top 30 country music charts. So, yeah,
awesome.
I just get a sense. But that Laura Frank song has got this, to me, it's a real cabaret feel. It's, if you listen to that and didn't know she was a country artist or didn't watch the video, you'd be saying, oh, my God, it's almost like jazz, or I won't say swing, but it was like a sophisticated song.
Yeah, it's almost
all
that.
about all about kissing your ass,
which is very country. So the subject matter's still there in the country realm.
Yeah. So Laura, I like it, and I like it
it too.
All right. So then we also had Sammy Palinkas.
Yes.
The beautiful Sammy Palinkas, and she's released her latest song, and it's all about her mum's wise words.
Okay.
So the song is called Don't Blink. So let's just listen to maybe a minute or two.
One thing that I've never heard is wish that I'd spend more time working. I've learned if you need something done, then ask the busiest someone. And I know that the best advice comes from the ones who've done the most. Just like my mama says to me, be everything you wanna be. But don't blink, 'cause you don't wanna miss a thing. Don't blink, don't wanna be left wondering. One thing we know is how time flies, and life will flash before your eyes. Don't blink, tomorrow's a new yesterday. You'll be looking back, wishing there was a way you could slow it down, look around, live it again. It's over sooner than you think. Don't blink.
Wow.
Quite upbeat.
The quality of the clips, how good are they?
Yeah, they're excellent. So, and once again, at that forefront, and Sammy's getting a lot of traction out of that song, which is fantastic. So, great message, great little. The chorus sort of picks up there, doesn't it? Like it starts
That's
off
what
a
it's
bit
supposed
slow.
to do.
Yeah, and
Yep.
great little message there as well. Don't blink. It's over far too soon, as we unfortunately know as we lose more and more people.
That's right. Correct. Yeah. Like, and just like our Who Am I guy said, everything but music seemed like a waste of time.
Yep.
So, should I
just
go
do
to the
what you
second
love.
part of that now?
Absolutely, let's do it.
To test my songs in front of an audience, I performed them in folk clubs that permitted amateur musicians to perform unpaid. Although folk music venues that welcomed original songs were scarcer in Liverpool than in London. By age 17, I was occasionally being paid a little money. At the beginning of 72, I was invited to join a folk rock band called Rossy by the band's founder, an 18-year-old veteran of Liverpool music scene named Alan Mays. As other members left, Rusty soon became a duo, with Mays and I singing and playing acoustic guitars. For a little over a year, we played regularly in small venues like pubs, clubs, schools, mostly in and around Liverpool, either unpaid or for small amounts of money. But the music scene in Liverpool was too small to support my ambition, so I moved to London. I formed a band called Flip City. Good name, isn't it? And played the London pub rock circuit, occasionally opening for prominent bands like Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah.
But generally making little money and attracting little notice.
Yeah.
We recorded some demos at a small studio owned by Dave Robinson, future Stiff Records founder. But nothing came of them. We broke up in late 1975 and I went solo. Have you got any guesses yet, Curly?
I know that there is. I'm just trying to think back to going through the museums in Liverpool, and they're talking about, we did a karaoke video of one of the songs, and I'm just trying to think who else was part of that, because I'm taking it that
think about the time period here now.
Yeah,
where this person's in London.
Yeah,
75.
Yeah,
we're getting close to, and
so rightly or wrongly, I'm
Stiff
thinking
Records.
this person's male,
Yes.
and Stiff Records is a little bit left
Independent.
of center. Independent. I've got an idea, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
So, all right.
No worries.
Now, I've got to also just tell you that Lizzie, Jack, and the Beanstalks, I'm loving their music.
Oh man,
I still
they're
love
going.
them.
I'm going to put some money on them. I reckon.
I reckon if we
Braggy's prediction.
we need to blow up a band, and that's the band we need to blow up. Because
Let's go.
I just think Dumb Decisions is such an amazing song. During the marathons when I was running and Shiraz Mouth came on, I was thinking about your daughter. Because
I know. It's true though. That's just so. I just think, Curly, they're so on point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if old guys like us are reacting to it,
Yeah. There is still. I don't reckon there's another Australian song out there that starts with "Has anyone packed the sunscreen?"
It's just, and I know the lyrics seem funny, but they're really intelligent lyrics as well.
Yeah, they
I
are.
mean? They're not just rambling. There's a good solid meaning to each one of those, and it's something that anyone growing up in Australia can relate to. Whether
way-
you and I growing up in the 80s
Yeah.
or kids growing up now, I'm sure.
The way she fits in the everyday, like I've got work in the Arvo into a
Yeah.
lyric of a song is
I
just
know.
incredible. Like I am just continually like I just love that. I just put them on all the time.
Yeah.
Lizzie Jack and the Beanstalks, and just so pleased that we were able to have a chat with them because that just came across so well. So yeah, and a little bit.
Let's keep a close eye on them.
Absolutely. I just want to talk about some of the music that we encountered as we were going.
Oh yeah, cool.
Run marathon. So in Berlin, right?
Yeah.
And Australians, I think, don't like the thrill for me in running a marathon is not just the fact you run 42 and you test yourself, but it really is about the experience of the crowds, the enjoyment that you get. Like you've got your name on your shirt, people are shouting out to you, "Come on, Curly, go! Oh, Australia!" And
That's
it's just
awesome.
it is just, and you're getting this pretty much the whole 42.2 kilometers, but they'll also have bands, and I don't know how they do this, but there's pretty much a regular as you're coming through neighborhoods or what have you. There'll be a band, there'll be a DJ, there'll be all sorts of stuff happening. So you've always got all this entertainment around you, and with the crowds, it's just an amazing experience. It's really hard to explain, and it would be nice to be able to do that without having to run the 42.2, can I tell you? But still, it's awesome. But in Berlin, and as we're running through Berlin, I'm thinking Braggy would love this. So through Berlin, of course, you've got your modern music, you've got modern DJs, you've got modern bands.
Yeah.
But I have never seen as many brass bands, symphonies. on the
Oompa
side of the
bands?
road. Yeah, well, not an oompa, like full on, like, with conductors and everything. Like I have never
okay. Like
seen-
just your police
Orchestras.
band or
yeah.
community band. Yeah.
So they had this wide range of brass bands, which I've never ever seen before. That big band concept.
That's
There
cool.
was a October style fest music,
Yeah.
and that's where the Oompas come in.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of modern music, and it was just so much fun, and it was such a different experience running Berlin. And
I guess that takes your mind off the pain a little bit as well.
it does. And Berlin put our first names on the bib, and because my first name is officially Anthony, you're getting all this German accent as you're running around going,
Anthony?
"Come on, Anthony." But you really, like, I would have thought the crowds in Berlin would have been very conservative, just very
It's a
organized,
wild
very
city,
structured.
Berlin.
But so much fun. But then in Chicago,
24-hour city, isn't it?
yeah,
Berlin.
it's full of history. They
Mhm.
acknowledge everything in their past, but they also
Yeah.
and it's a strange thing to say, but they celebrate that acknowledgement of their past.
Yeah.
So they don't celebrate the past, but they'll celebrate the fact that they've reconciled with that and then
Yes.
moving
And they
forward.
don't want to go there again. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good
so
thing.
many historical concepts, so many amazing buildings. I wish in hindsight, it would have been nice not to have gone to Munich and just spent a couple more days in Berlin, but amazing. But then in Chicago, you run through 29 neighborhoods, right? And
Wow.
so you've got Little Italy, you've got Chinatown, they've
Oh,
got what
yeah.
they call the Mexican Mile, and it was just, the Mexican Mile is amazing. Like you've got all these Spanish tequila bands, and then you've got these great big, like 10-foot tall effigies. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it was just like, well, you are in another part of the world, but it was just amazing. And you're running through these neighborhoods, but then next corner you turn, there'd be a band there playing the best version of Rock and Roll All Night that you've ever heard. And so you're at the 25K mark and your legs are buggered, and all of a sudden you're up there in front of the band as you're running past doing these big
that's
claps.
great. Yeah.
And so Chicago was amazing. And I've never heard, coming through some of those black neighborhoods, and the DJs are pumping it up, and the crowds are just going amazing. And, you cannot help. And Chicago was our best ever time in a marathon, and we just enjoyed it so much. And it just, it does take
You can't help but
but
absorb the culture.
Yeah, Chicago.
So good.
I was really surprised about Chicago. I don't know if any of our listeners have ever been, but I'd never been. And you hear all the negative stuff. But we spent just over probably 10 days in Chicago, and it is a really beautiful city, right on the lake of Michigan. You've got the river and all the iconic bridges of Chicago, and the weather was amazing. In fact, we thought when we got there, it was 28 degrees Celsius for probably the first 3 to 4 days. And we're thinking, we don't want to run in this.
No.
That's a little bit too warm for us.
Yeah.
But then the weather turned, and on race day, it was 6 degrees when we started and 13 degrees when we finished. So
Perfect. But still sunny?
Yeah, it wasn't cloudy, no. And we got specks of rain as we're coming down the finish straight. So, but
was it windy? Because they call it the Windy City.
But you know why they call it the Windy City? It's not because it's windy. It's because their politicians back in the early days were full of wind.
Oh.
So they started to call Chicago the Windy City because more about the
full of hot air.
Yeah, full of hot air.
Gotcha.
And the other thing that I found amazing is that they actually reversed the flow of the Chicago River because of the pollution that was going into Lake Michigan.
Right.
And this is going back 100 odd years, I'd imagine, but they actually changed the flow of the Chicago River to push it into the river systems more in America than to go in. So there's this lock.
Amazing,
this great big lock that as you're coming out into the lake, you've got to go into this lock like I did in the canals in England.
Yeah.
And to lower it because it's just the river actually doesn't flow towards Lake Michigan anymore because they dug these channels that
you got to love that about America, haven't you? How can we fix it? Let's just make it flow the other way. Okay.
Let's just channel the shit the other way. Yeah. And they were sharing the story on the river cruise and that we did that the other areas that were downriver had picked up that Chicago would dig in the river deeper, so it changed the flow. So they started legal proceedings. So Chicago said, well, the only way we can fix this is we'll dig faster. So they finished the project 2 years early just to make sure that they couldn't. Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow.
So, but Chicago, highly recommended. If you haven't been to Chicago, there's the Chicago House of Blues.
The other thing I think I like about Chicago is that's where the start of Route 66 is.
Absolutely. Have you ever wanted to drive Route 66, Brad?
I have. My brother and I have talked about that a lot, and I think one day we'll actually do that. We might get a camper van and do that. But the old Route 66 will get off the...
Yeah, there's...
you can do that.
It's something I've always wanted to do, and I wanted to take 3 weeks to do it the old style and see all the iconic landmarks. And
hey, Unfiltered and Undiscovered does Route 66. Let's work on that.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. So, but we can't do it in a camper van. You got to do it in a Mustang.
What if they have servo pies?
Yeah. Hey, a funny thing, Rossy added me to the meat pie appreciation group on Facebook.
I love it. Rossy.
All right, we miss you, Rossy. I hope you're doing well, mate. Let's look at part 3. Let's see if I can get this one.
You'll get it at the end, so you're gonna have a go beforehand, okay?
Okay.
As a solo performer, I wrote songs, lots and lots of songs.
Yeah.
Some of these I recorded as demos for Dave Robinson in mid-1975. For the next year, I shopped these and other solo demos to music publishers and record companies, hoping to be hired either as a songwriter or a recording artist. I sent out as many as 20 songs on a single tape to publishers, not yet realizing that no publisher would have the patience to listen to so many songs. So sometimes I went to publishers' offices to perform my songs in person. None of this generated anything but rejections until I began creating show reels of no more than 6 or what I believe were the most attention-getting songs, selected to appeal to the recipient of each demo tape. By February 76, I was booking myself into clubs as a solo act. I learned to sing and play guitar very loudly and developed a forceful stage presence. Although I was still playing to small audiences for very little money. Any idea yet, mate?
Songwriter.
Solo.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and I don't know where this one came from. I think it was a flashback from the list, but I'm going to be wrong. Is it Elvis Costello?
Got it. Well done, Curly.
Holy dooly.
Finally, in late 1976, with punk beginning to raise its ugly head, the newly founded Stiff Records agreed to let me record. My first album, My Aim Is True, was recorded and mixed in 6 4-hour sessions for a total cost of £1,000.
Wow.
The final mix of the album was completed on 26th of January 1977. By February 1977, Robinson, who was now my manager, had given me a new stage name, Elvis. The reference to Elvis Presley was still the reference to Elvis Presley, who was still alive at the time, was simply intended to get attention. It worked, and the rest is history. My name is Elvis Costello.
Because when you mentioned the record label, that's when I'm starting to think, well, this isn't mainstream, and
It's
he's
punk.
going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so the one name I can remember from that list of great musicians and number ones that came out of Liverpool was Elvis Costello.
Yeah.
So,
still going strong.
yeah, and still loved by so many people, mate. So
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what we've got coming up next week. I guess between now and next week we'll work something out. I'm not quite sure when Rossy comes back from his quiet family holiday, and I hope he can get some time away from the Turnbuckles.
I think he's going to run away with them.
Oh, I just hope he can relax, because the bloke works really, really hard, doesn't he? And to have the Turnbuckles just show up and start bloody
Jumping off
running
the top rope.
Yeah.
I know.
There's no affiliation there, is there, between Rossy and the Turnbuckles?
I don't think
They've just shown up to disrupt the place, haven't they?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any affiliation there. Apart from, I think they're from Sydney as well, but not that I know of.
And the referee they're dragging around with them looks remarkable.
Who is
like
that little
Angus.
bastard?
Yeah.
He does look like Angus a bit, but
I
don't think.
What do they call it? Doppelgangers or something? Lookalikes around the world. So fancy picking up a lookalike referee to Angus from Pocket Watch. So
yeah, well, those Turnbuckles, they probably pressed gang that poor bastard from somewhere. He's probably. Parents are probably at home somewhere and saying, "Where's our son?"
Yeah. And can I just say, Turnbuckles, you do a great social media. So loving the
Good
journey.
band. Good band.
Yeah. And they're tight. They're good. They know what they're doing. So
I'd go and see them.
Yeah. Don't know about the green wigs. I'm not sure if I'd be wearing a green wig. So, but unless, of course, that's their house. So anyway,
They still have their underpants on outside their normal pants. On the outside, underpants on the outside.
I don't even want to picture that. So anyway, Braggy, it's been great connecting again. Yeah. And for those listening, if you've enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe, leave a review. Maybe not on this episode, but on other episodes. We really do appreciate that. And it helps us get found. If you are a band that's got some new music out, make contact with us. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, we don't care what
podcast.
genre you are either. We love everything,
Yeah, we love dissecting it, listening to it, understanding it, and investing and immersing ourselves in it. So,
Yes.
and once you've been on the podcast, you are a friend of the podcast, and we will continually update people on what it is that you're doing. Of course, we're on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. We've got a website at Unfiltered and Undiscovered.com. Every bit of music that we share on the podcast, we then add to our Spotify playlist called Unfiltered and Undiscovered. So it's a great opportunity for you to check out all the music that we've played.
And we talked before, we might put these, because I've done 24 of these Who Am I's, we might put them up on the website or something. And then maybe if people are having a barbecue, they can, and they want to they like quizzes. They could download a couple and, someone could read them out at a barbecue and see how people go.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because you love your quizzes on a Saturday
I love a quiz.
night. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it might be something that we put together on the website. So it sounds really, really good. I don't have any lyric from the playlist this week, unfortunately, but as I said, started the show, very sad news with Died Pretty. I still have the ticket on my board just over there that they were due to be playing in Brisbane this Saturday night, and it's such a shame that we will never ever get to see such an amazing band again, and of course that perennial performer in Ron Pino. I hope everyone has enjoyed this episode, and we will see you all again next week. Good to catch up, Braggy.
Ta-ra. That's why you sign off.
Crusher!